Real Estate Wealth Summit. And honestly, I don't even know if that's the right day, but by God's grace, we are here. And actually, we skipped a few days. So I missed you guys on Friday and on yesterday, but nonetheless, we are here by God's grace. I want to grab my Bible. Give me just one moment. All right, I want to grab my Bible so that we can continually be in remembrance of why we are meeting here on the Real Estate Wealth Summit. Again, we're meeting here for 70 days, and we will be here by God's grace until May 7th, every single day at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to get access to our email list, definitely check out the link down below. It'll be in the description so that you can keep up with all of the news and updates and all of the things that we are going to be doing here in the Real Estate Wealth Summit. Also, I want to make sure that you have access to the email list because I will be giving you guys 70 deals. I will be giving you access to 70 deals, real estate transactions, so that you can have the proper understanding of how the math works, how the accounting works, how the numbers work, how the money works as a real estate investor, or if you were ever looking to sell, but mainly for real estate investor purposes. I want you to have those insights and those numbers so that you can see exactly what the potential could be, as you are navigating real estate. These are not exact numbers, but they will be, in the ballpark of what you can expect to profit as a real estate investor. So it's going to be really exciting. All right. But I want us to remember why we are getting involved in this real estate wealth summit in the first place. And I want us to point to Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 6, which says, "Therefore thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God, to walk in his way and to fear him. For the Lord thy God bringeth thee into a good land, a land of brooks a land of brooks of water, of fountains and depths that spring out of valleys and hills. A land of wheat," or actually, I'm just going to stop there. I feel like the Lord is telling me to stop there. So, Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 6 through 7, the Lord is bringing us into a good land, a good land, a good land, a good land. And so, because the Lord is bringing you into a good land, I want you to go and read Deuteronomy chapter 8, verses 6 through really whenever the Lord tells you to stop, so that you can understand what the Lord has promised you in terms of the good land that He is bringing you into. And so there are so many scriptures in the Bible that talk about land. Isaiah 60, Isaiah 61, I believe, is another one. Isaiah 62 talks about land. There are so many scriptures that specifically talk about land and how the Lord wants to bless you and how He will bless you. But we have to make sure that we are doing our part first. And so I believe that it just flows beautifully into what we're doing here in the Real Estate Wealth Summit, because as God is talking about land in the Bible, that also can be applicable to the land that we are seeing here on earth, right? The land that He wants you to buy, the land that He wants you to sell potentially. All of those things can be a part of it. And so I believe that this is going to be a very powerful time for you to just plug in and get engaged into the Real Estate Wealth Summit. We've talked about a myriad of topics up until this point, and today we're talking about interior finishes, how to select interior finishes. Over the last couple of days, we've talked about, floor plans, interior design, the building and the designing of a home or designing of a property. And today we're going to be talking about interior finishes. And the reason why, again, we're giving you all of this information is so that as you become a real estate professional, whether it be a real estate investor, a wholesaler, what have you, you have the knowledge and the understanding that you can pull from to say, okay, I want to invest in property, and this is how I go about and maneuver the entire space, okay? So today we're talking about interior finishes and how to select them. Now, again, if you have been following along up until today, we've talked about how to build the home, the floor plan of the home, so on and so forth, and not even just a home, but just a property, because this could be a commercial, office space, like whatever, right? But primarily, we're going to be talking about residential homes, because there's just, I feel like that's the Lord. I feel like that's where the Lord is wanting us to kind of hover for today. But nonetheless, when you are, at that place where drywall is up and pretty much everything is done, you now is the time for those finishes that you have selected to go in. Now, it is very key that you select your finishes before they need to be installed, right? As the process is unfolding, as the property is being built, you want to have those finishes well in advance as much as possible, for a myriad of reasons. Number one, we want to do what the Lord is asking us to do in accordance with His plan, right, for the entire project. And you also have to understand that there may be certain lead times or shipping times that, it might take a longer time for particular materials to come in, and to be shipped to your particular location, and then shipping those to the job site, making sure that everything is correct, making sure that you have all of the pieces that are in place and all of those things. You want to make sure that you have ample time so that there's nothing amiss when the day of install comes. But overall, what are finishes? Mainly finishes are, the things that you see, that are finished, right? After the project is pretty much finished. So a finish is going to be like your faucets, your sinks, your countertops, maybe even some of your appliances, any kind of like your door handles, things like that, right? I like to think of it, you can kind of think of it in the way of, think of it in the way of like metal, anything that is metallic or any kind of thing like that, like again, faucets, the sink, door handles, doorknobs, all of those things can be considered finishes. Usually you'll find the majority of your finishes in kitchens and bathrooms, but you also have like built-in accessories that are not necessarily finishes, but you have things like windows and wall trims, or baseboard trims, things like that, that also need to be selected as well. Okay, so let's kind of go through room by room and I'm going to just give you some common types of finishes that you can be expecting in these particular rooms. Okay, so as an example, in the kitchen you will need to select, somebody's doing construction right now outside, and I don't know what they're carrying. I wonder what that is, but nonetheless. So in the kitchen, you will have finishes like your counter surfaces. Like, what kind of counter surface are you going to have? Is it going to be quartz? Is it going to be marble? Is it going to be, is it going to be butcher block? Like, what kind of finish? And I'm just like, Holy Spirit, thank you for reminding me of these terms, because it's a lot. It can be a lot. There are so many details that go into putting together a kitchen. Let's think about, the counter. First of all, let's think about the cabinetry, okay? You got to understand, okay, what kind of cabinetry are you going to install? What is the layout of the cabinetry going to be? What material is that cabinetry going to be? And not only that, what is the door, what is the shaker style of the door going to be, or what is the style of the cabinet door going to be? Is it going to be shaker style? Is it going to be something else? Are you going to have additional trim? What color is the cabinetry going to be? What material is the cabinetry going to be made of? I think I said that already. How are the built-ins going to be laid out? How is it going to be structured? Where is the microwave going to go in reference to, and this is all done, some of these things are done during the floor planning stage, but you want to keep all of those things in mind. So cabinetry, and then you want to figure out, okay, well, what is the counter surface going to be? All right, so we talked about marble, quartz, quartzite, butcher block, just there's so many other things, right? Excuse me. But there's so many other, materials that you could be thinking about as it pertains to the counter materials. So we got cabinetry, we got counters. Then you want to figure out, okay, what is the faucet situation going to be like? What is the sink going to look like? Is it going to be a ceramic farmhouse style sink? Is it going to be undermount or overmount, right? An undermount sink, of course, goes undermount. Overmount sink goes over, or over the counter. What kind of sink faucet are you going to have? Are you going to have a one-hole sink faucet that just has literally one hole in the counter? You need to know that before you order your counter and before you order your actual faucet. Because let's say that you tell the construction team that they can drill 3 holes into the counter, because some faucets have the actual faucet and then they have the right handle and then the left handle, while there are other faucets that they just have one and you only need 1 hole in that particular counter. You need to be paying attention to those things when you are ordering, so that you don't end up having the construction team build out 3 holes in the counter and you only needed 1, right? Now you got 2 other holes that you don't even really need, right? Or if you tell the team to drill 1 hole and you really needed 3 because you have the faucet and then right hand and left hand handle, right? You need to know these things. Or if you need a sprayer on the side, like some faucets still come with sprayers on the side. A lot of them you just drop down, you do. and that's it, but some don't, right? You have to have all of those things in mind as you are purchasing, right? So that's just, the kitchen. Then we're talking about appliances. Appliances can kind of be a separate situation where you're kind of getting into more of the furniture piece conversation, but it's still a part of it, right? What kind of appliances are you going to have? Are they going to fit? You need to make sure that the measurements are correct for the microwave and for the stove that's going to go in there. Is there going to be a stove within the cabinetry, or is the stove going to be something that's like, on the wall that you can just pull it down and be at regular eye level? Is it going to be that you have a cooktop on top of your surface rather than having a regular range stove? Same thing with the refrigerator. All of these things, finishes. The flooring is also considered a finish. So, what kind of flooring are you going to have throughout the house? Are you going to have it to where? And now we're kind of getting into pretty much every other area of the house. But are you going to have it to where the main living areas are going to be like hardwoods or luxury vinyl plank, which is hard, like a hard surface? That looks like wood, or are you going to have hard surfaces in the main living areas, and then in the bedrooms have carpet? Like what's that structure going to be like? So you need to figure out all of those things. Same thing for the bathroom, right? Of course, you're going to have your cabinetry for the vanity if you're going to have one in there. You're going to have the cabinetry, the countertops, and then again, what is that faucet finish going to look like? You also have a few more elements in there as well, like the light fixtures. You want to know what those are as well, how that's going to be placed, as well as the mirror, how that's going to function as well. And again, if you have any additional items that you want to add in the design, like let's say that in the bathroom you want to add tile to all of the walls in the bathroom. Okay, well that's something that you're going to have to spec out and see exactly how much you're going to need, what the measurements are, so on and so forth, and make sure that your construction team is ready. You're also going to need to know, for example, in the shower, okay, what kind of, now the showers are a little bit more, I wouldn't say tricky, but you just want to make sure that you have all of the right pieces and considerations in mind, because not only are you picking a shower head and just a shower spigot, but with a shower system, you're also, when you're picking whatever finish you're going to pick, you're also picking the rough-in and all of the valves that will go behind the wall that you will never see. All of that is very applicable, because you can't just say, oh well, I'm just going to use this rough-in back, I'm just going to use this rough-in with this particular finish. No, they have to match, and so you can't just mix and match. You need to know exactly how it's all going to go together. Okay, so those are the kinds of finishes that you can be thinking about. What kind of tub are you going to have? What kind of toilet are you going to have? There are so many different kinds of toilets. Are you going to have an elongated toilet, or are you going to have a round toilet? Are you going to have a soft closed toilet, or are you just going to have a regular toilet, right? Are you going to add a bidet on top of the toilet? Like, all of these things and components are so important as it pertains to selecting finishes. So when it comes to mainly like kitchens and bathrooms, that's where you're going to have like your plumbing fixtures. Again, plumbing is anything that has water attached to it, really. Okay, so your plumbing fixtures are going to be like your sinks, your showers, your toilets, things like that. And y'all, by God's grace, He allowed me to work at one of my first jobs that I ever had. Was I worked at a company that they sold toilets, they sold shower systems, they sold kitchen sinks, they sold faucets, all of these things. And so by God's grace, like God always brings everything full circle, because I learned all of this stuff over 10 years ago, I think now, almost 10 years ago. And now He's bringing it back full circle to where it actually is applicable as a real estate professional, as an interior design consultant, and all of those things, okay? But I just want to give you these items so that you can write them down, have them in your notes. And so as you're building your real estate wealth portfolio, then you can, as you're building your properties, you can say, okay, I need to check off this, that, and the third. And then of course, again, you have your built-in accessories. So you need to select what kind of windows you're going to have. There's a lot that goes into that. What kind of windows that you're going to have, what the exterior is going to look like. Is it going to be hardy plank? Is it going to be siding? Is it going to be brick? All of those things you need to, figure out. And then, any kind of wall trim. If you're going to add shades, what kind of shades are you going to add inside the house? A few quick tips in terms of, the interior design. Make sure that it's not busy. You want to do something neutral colored. and you want to make sure that whatever finish you select, it can handle being lived in the space. Okay, so that is it. That was a quick rundown of all things interior design. I pray that this was a blessing to you, and be sure to just keep on keeping on. We're going to keep on going by God's grace, and I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.